Camber House.
Give me my respect.
Welcome to Camber House.
You're now rocking with the best.
Join your hosts, Jeremy and James, as they take an unfiltered and uncensored look at the car industry and motorsport across the globe.
You can't find the right tool in this garage, you don't belong near a car.
Welcome to the home of car culture.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to episode 2. This week, our next guest has been a rally competitor for over 25 years, both on the international scene and here in Barbados. I think specifically since 2008. Well, I might be wrong. He has over 160 rally starts, 8 victories, maybe 9 if you count this weekend. According to EWRC, that was. Came agonizingly close to King of the Hill last year by the smallest margin known to man. I'm sure he remembers the actual amount of time. But yeah, welcome, Rob Swan. How you doing, Rob?
I'm good, thanks. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, it's great to be back in what I class as my second home.
Good. The adopted son, I guess. So I think what we wanted to do was start off, and we kind of gone into the habit of asking our guests this question is, what was your earliest memory of motorsport? If you can remember one.
Wow. Well, if I go back to two wheels, it would have been dirt bikes. My father used to take us, motocross, schoolboy motocross at the time.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was my first introduction to.
How old would you have been?
Around about 9, 10. Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
And then how did you get into four-wheel? I mean, motorsport first, or was it always rally?
Rally, really, yeah. Always wanted to rally, following the RAC, or Network Q as it was then. And just loved the noise and the spectacle of the cars. We had an old car that we used to drive around a local farm. Thought we were all...
That's how it always starts, right?
Top drivers, but it was, a lot of fun rear-wheel drive car, and just, went from there. So, and just following the network, we used to have really good coverage on the BBC. They used to follow the event live. You'd be having your tea, dinner at night, and it would be on live in the evenings. A 6-day event. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was. That's what kind of got me hooked. And then I remember we went skiing. I went skiing with my cousin to France, and we went down. The ski instructor took us down to watch the Monte Carlo.
Oh,
and
man!
It was the last year of the
Group B.
Group B car.
Oh my God!
We walked across an icy stage, and I couldn't stand up on it. And then this noise and lights and everything that came through the mountains. The Audi Quattros, the Lancias.
Yeah.
Man, I know people that would
amazing.
give up a
made
farm.
their hair stand on the back of your neck.
For sure.
And we actually got to go down to the service area and see all the drivers and servicing on the cars, because it was a different time then.
Yeah.
Access was there, and that was it. I was hooked then.
That was it.
Whenever I kind of thought, if I ever get the opportunity to get some funds together and do this myself,
right,
at any level, I didn't know what level I could do it at. We'd do it. So that's how it all started. So
that's how it started, and then I think we did some research.
Yeah, if the internet didn't mislead us, it looks like your first competition official car, according to the internet, was a Mazda.
Yeah, it was. It was a Mazda. It was officially an RX-3.
Yes.
But it didn't have the rotary engine in. It had a 1600 cross-flow Ford engine.
Okay.
It was a bit of a hybrid. Something that Bayesians would
Well,
really appreciate.
yeah.
So it had an Alfa Romeo back axle, because it had inboard discs. 5-speed sequential box, and it was a great car. It was £900. When I look back now, we can't get a set of tyres for that.
I was about to say.
Right?
That's crazy.
And the car, when I bought the car from the mechanic that was selling it, he said to me, "It's capable of winning its class in the right hands," and that's what we did.
So you bought it already built?
I bought it as a running car. It
right.
had a logbook, an MOT, and I went to do the round of the BTRDA Championship in England.
And that was in '95.
Yeah.
Right, and you ended up winning the class that year. Well, so that was your first foray into rally. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting because not a lot of people. I mean, maybe because I come from motorsport, more of a track focus, but it's always been more track focused. I've always felt, at least the people I've been around, as opposed to rally. Well, no, I'm talking about rally in the UK compared
Oh,
to
I see.
compared to track racing or open wheel racing.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Mazda. I mean, you have a massive track list of vehicles, which is partly why we were so excited to have you on. You've driven pretty much
It is crazy what
everything
you've
we
been
can
able to get your hands on.
pretty much
I must have
everything.
forgotten about a lot of them.
Right.
Can you refresh
Well,
me with them?
you've done what a lot of, I think, a lot of rally enthusiasts would like to do, which is you jump from a Mazda into an Escort, and the Escort I think today still holds a lot of. No, was this a Mark II Escort that you drove at the time?
No, so that I went, being untraditional, went straight to a Mark 3 or 4. So it was a front wheel drive road car, but they did a conversion for the it was I can't remember if it was an X-Track conversion or anyway, it was there was a company doing them, 2 or 3 companies at the time, because as the Mark IIs were becoming harder to get, they started to convert the Mark 3s and 4s.
It's just
They weren't anywhere near as successful. So
Yeah.
but the Mazda, I had a massive accident on the Malcolm Wilson rally in the RX3. Rolled it end over end.
how was that? I mean,
And yeah, we actually finished the event and still won the class.
after rolling it,
Yeah.
good. Well,
It
at least
landed
the
back
roll
on
cage
its
works.
wheels, and we had a lot.
First gear and go
We had a
again.
lot of assistance at the end of the stages. I think we ended up running with goggles on because they had no windscreen.
I would love a picture of that if I can get
Malcolm
one.
Wilson actually presented me with the Spirit of the Rally award at the prize giving, because to get it over the finish ramp, the engine was done by that point. It was overheating and everything else, and we rolled down the hill into Cockermouth through the market square, and we pushed it over the finish ramp. And Malcolm was giving out the prizes, and he actually presented us with Spirit of the Rally award for getting to the finish. Anyway, that finished that car. That was
it.
Yeah.
And then it was on to the RS Cosworth.
Yeah.
Well, no,
Right.
then the Escort.
Well, then we built the Escort,
Oh.
which was a rear-wheel drive conversion, and that took a lot of developing because we went to coilovers initially because it was an easy thing to do, and then we decided to 5-link him. Actually, let's go back to where the Mark II would normally be.
Yeah.
Which was leaf sprung, slipper springs. That handled it. It was a whole different car then, and that went really well. That was a good car.
Okay.
And we ran that in a BTRDA. That actually had a aluminium block BDG Atlantic engine in it, which was probably the most valuable part of the car.
Right.
So that was
That must have sounded good too,
a
huh?
great car, it really was, yeah. And it was actually that car that I then sold along with a Mark I Escort, which I had in the shed, and a few other things to buy a Group N Escort Cosworth.
And that's the one. Yeah, that's the.
What was that jump like going from the Mark III into the Cosworth, which would now have, I assume, was a proper kind of full spec build?
So it was the early days of the Group N car. So and the regulations then were a lot different. So it was supposed to be a production car with a cage in it. You actually then had to carry the back seat interior still in the back of the car. The headlining had to be in the car, so you had to cut it and tuck it under the roll cage. It was some crazy rules, really, from a fire point of view.
Wait, so you had to keep full back
Yeah, so
seats
we had,
in?
well, we basically
And build the
all we
cage
had
At
around
was-
least in the car,
We
right?
had the foam of the rear seats. You had to have the structures folded up and ratchet strapped and carried in the back of the car.
Jesus.
You're
That
allowed
seems a
to
bit
change
silly.
the suspension, but you still had to run the standard gearbox and
Okay.
things like that. So, and then that evolved as those cars became more competitive. The regulations changed, so you were allowed to then start running dog boxes and
Sequentials.
lighten them and things like that. So,
Okay.
but that was a big step for me. That was kind of when I decided I really wanted to have a go at national and perhaps the British Championship rallying and move forward.
Yeah.
How does the tier system work in rally in the UK? Because a lot of people talk about the BRC, but there's a lot of tiers in rally, right? Correct?
Yeah, when we've got really good national championships.
Right.
Back a few years ago, we had good one-make championships as well. Peugeot, Mitsubishi, the Evo Challenge, Evo.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
actually Barry Mears used to run the Peugeot kind of national challenge when he was in the UK for a
Yeah?
bit. Yeah, I
Okay.
think he did a few events in that.
Okay.
All the manufacturers actually backed some really good one-make championships within a national championships, and we've still got very strong national tarmac championship and gravel championships. The BTRDA and the MSA tarmac championship. So a really good tier, and then the step up is obviously to the
BRC, yeah.
but it's a big jump financially.
Yeah.
But throughout in those early days when you started with, the Mazda the first Escort and then the Cosworth, were you primarily driving on tarmac or gravel or both?
Gravel.
Just gravel?
Yeah, mainly Forest Championship. On a couple of events they would include some closed road. Maybe you'd do 2 tarmac stages on a closed road before you went into the forest.
Okay.
But you'd still be on gravel suspension.
That's what I was going to ask. Would
You're
you
allowed to change
tyres?
You could change the wheels, run tarmac tyres. Obviously, you still had the small brakes on.
Yeah.
And gravel suspension. And there was another event that used to run up into Yorkshire, and you used to go around Oliver's Mount, which is the motorcycle circuit there.
Yeah.
And you'd do 2 stages in there as well.
Gravel setup, but
Gravel
tarmac.
setup, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
I can imagine.
Yeah, a lot of fun. Yeah,
I'm sure. Cool. Moving from the, I mean, how long did you have the Cosworth for?
So I
you
got
can
that
remember.
in 97, and we sold that in 2000.
Right, and then you got into an Evo.
Evo 4, yeah. So it was, I wanted to do RAC, Network Q, Rally GB,
Yep.
as it was then.
Which is, Wales.
And I needed a car that was capable of doing that.
And this
Reliable.
started the love affair with Evos, because you had a few.
Yeah, I had a few. So it was a big step.
You had like every version of Evo almost.
Yeah, to go from the Cosworth to the Evo 4, which then that car as a manufacturer developed into the 4, 5, and 6, which all were on the same floor pan.
Yeah, which makes it a little bit easier.
That was night and day. That was getting from a Group N car to a World Rally car. Go from the Cosworth to the Mitsubishi. The way it was just the way it had been built, developed, and handled.
Yeah.
It was far superior. Yeah.
Both left-hand drive, because the Cosworth was left-hand drive, so that was my first taste of left-hand drive.
Interesting.
And the Evo was just a huge step forward, and the times for me showed it. The guys I've been racing with that I was struggling with in the to drive the wheels off the Cosworth, and they were in Mitsubishi Evo 5s. I got in the 4 and just went
Straight up to the top.
Yeah, ahead of them.
Yeah.
And realised why I've been struggling, because it was just a night and day car.
Really?
Really good. And that was an ex-British Championship car that Marco Impatti drove on British Championship, and he won the British Championship in that car.
In that car, that same.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we actually bought that from Tony Jardine, the
Yeah.
motorsport correspondent. So, and I think he'd done GB in it the year before or something.
During this time, what was your goal? Because obviously I don't know how old you were at this time, but did you have like a mindset of what you wanted to achieve in rally? Or is it just like, this is a passion, this is a hobby that you're trying to do?
Really just a passion, yeah. I wanted to win some championships. That was always the goal, to go and try and win some championships, but at what level I didn't know, because we didn't know where it could go. And obviously finances were a big issue, as well. It was all self-funded. We managed to pick up some manufacturer sponsors of wheels, and Revolution wheels were good to us along the way and things like that. But it was a case of rally by rally, really. So BTRDA, which was the national championship at the time, Forest Championship was always the goal, and that was the one we went after originally.
Okay, cool. So a lot of Evos, and then I guess the Subarus came in. Why did the switch?
When Mitsubishi stopped with their World Championship program, the Evos had started to lose some development and backup, even in Group N.
Yeah.
So, and ProDrive was still very strong with the Subaru.
Yeah.
Just felt it was time for a change. We actually had a really good sponsor that came on board at that time as well, which was 2005. And we decided to make the step to the British Championship from the National Championship. So we went to ProDrive, and the sponsor was keen to look at ProDrive and look at the cars. And they actually funded 3 year of cars for us through that.
Oh, amazing.
Through that time.
Was it when you jumped from the Evo into the Subarus, did you know what were some of the differences you noticed between the two cars, or were they more similar than
The
different?
big difference was the chassis between the two cars. Obviously, we'd always been the Mitsubishis we've been running were built by preparation companies in Wales, or not by a works team. And then when we went to Subaru, to see the preparation that went into building the cars, the hours that went into the body shell, just even in the Group N car, and that was where you could feel the difference, was in the chassis and some of the development there. Engine-wise, I actually felt the Mitsubishi had a stronger engine initially when we first went to the Subarus. But once we got more familiar with the Subaru and working with the engineers, we were able to push the engine further away from just the customer spec engine, and mapping was always key, which is something that we've carried with us up to today.
Do you have a team of people? I mean, I don't want to get into it right now, but during that time, you had a team of people helping you look after them.
Yeah, we was always working with a preparation company that we chose, whoever that may be at the time, to work with us.
Okay.
And then you always had access to the engineers at ProDrive for the Subarus anyway.
So even for engine mapping and stuff, the mechanics from ProDrive or the team from ProDrive would help you with that?
Yeah, you could book an engineer for the day. They'd come spend the day with you.
Interesting.
We'd have a pre-event test, spend the day with Öhlins developing testing the dampers.
That must have made such a huge difference, huh? I mean,
It
getting
does.
exposure to that sort of talent.
Yeah, hugely. And seat time is a big thing. And obviously, when you see the works drivers back-to-back testing tyres and dampers and things, you can appreciate how they're able to progress so much.
Yeah, of course.
But we had the opportunity, on a number of occasions to work with Öhlins on dampers. We had a tyre deal, so we had tyre manufacturers there helping us as well.
Amazing.
And able to back-to-back tyres and do testing.
Yeah.
And then you had the engineer to help with the mapping of the car, and you could trim you could look at the data through a stage and you could trim the engine map and things like that to suit you.
I mean, amazing.
It is, right? I mean, that's incredible.
Totally bespoke.
Yeah. Set up just for you.
What that does is help you, the driver, to understand the car as well, which is
of course.
benefit.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that leads us into 2008, which is the first year that you came. And I had a question because I noticed that obviously Meek and Ryan Champion came that year. Was it? How did the move to Barbados in terms of rallying? How did that happen?
Well, my first introduction to Barbados was through a friend from home. Actually, had a hotel here.
Okay.
So we had an offer to come out on holiday. So we actually came out in 2007.
Unrelated to rallying, you were just coming on vacation?
I knew some of the guys from England had been out here rallying.
Okay.
And my first drive from the airport to the hotel was past the boatyard on the Monday after that year of Rally Barbados. And as I went past the boatyard, we'll stop. We stopped the taxi, and then Howard Davis and a few of the other guys were outside the boatyard, obviously the presentation.
Yeah.
And my wife looked at me and said, "We're going to be coming back, aren't we?"
That's it.
Yeah. So that was how it came about, and then from then it was right. Let's get a car out for 2008 and come out and do the rally. And it was hand on heart. It was a one time only. Let's just go to Barbados, have some fun. Doesn't matter what car we take. We're just going to go enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. And you brought a group. It was a Group N Evo that you came in.
Yeah, it was a Group N Evo. No, Group N Subaru.
Subaru.
It was actually my first Subaru, which I'd
N11.
Yeah, N11, which I'd been bought in 2005.
Right.
Which the preparation company that I was with at the time still had. So it was spare because we were doing the British Championship at the time in an N14.
Right.
And we didn't do King of the Hill that year because it used to clash with Jim Clark, which was the British Championship.
Yeah.
So we actually missed King of the Hill, flew out on the Monday, got into everything. Chris was out here, Ryan, we had a party, we had great fun. We did some recce, looked at the stages. And
What was your first kind of? Is that what you're going to say?
Absolutely.
When you first came and started doing your recce, going through, looking at our stages, our roads, what were your first impressions? Because
really
at this time, were you still primarily doing gravel?
No, we was on tarmac.
You were doing both.
Been on tarmac for a number of years, then doing the championship and so a mixture of things. So yeah, no, I was impressed with the stages, and they looked good. They looked
short,
challenging, although they were short.
Yeah.
So that was good. We obviously made our own pace notes as we do, which wasn't an issue. So that was fine. And yeah, just went into the event completely. Just let's just have some fun and enjoy it. But very, very quickly we realised how competitive it was, and to get into the mindset of short stages. I mean, we were used to doing
very
15, 18-mile stages, and we were doing 4 kilometres.
By
the time you got off the start line, the stage was
you're almost done.
Yeah, and it took a while to get into that kind of mindset to get on the pace.
You got to be on it from the time the clock goes to zero. Yeah. Did you were you surprised by how competitive our local drivers were? Did you expect that sort of competitiveness from?
Well, I'd watched a bit of footage and we'd heard about the pace, and obviously the quality of the cars that were here, even the home built cars, and then obviously there were some S9s and Corolla and things like that. So I guess I wasn't surprised, but the whole event just sort of kind of opened our eyes up to how competitive everybody was and the way the event ran. So and the machinery that was here, and then we decided, well, I've got to come back because I haven't finished with this. You know,
Right.
enjoyed it, and obviously the family really enjoyed it as well because that's the other side of Rally Barbados.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's not a bad place to come spend some time.
For the first time, I had people who wanted to come and watch me rally. Never wanted to
Nobody wants to go in a cold forest in the UK and watch.
Stand in the rain on a Welsh hill.
I know. I was going to ask the difference of driving like a UK or seeing the spectators in a UK rally compared to Barbados. I mean, numbers wise, it's been a long time since I've seen a rally in the UK. What's the spectatorship level like compared to here?
Here, there's a much more density of people in the stage. So obviously, there's shorter stages.
Yeah.
Everybody comes out to watch. So from a driver's, your eye just catches people all the way through the stage. I mean, even on Sunday, it's just full. So it's a nice thing to see. You can hear people outside.
You can hear them in the car.
Yeah.
I guess Group N's are kind of quiet.
Well, even these are in WRCs now, so
Yeah,
You're
true.
aware of it. It's a great feeling to see all those people. Yeah.
okay. So 2008, 2009 was when Meek was here for both. I think he won
Yes.
both, right?
Yeah.
I've seen a trajectory that you've always gotten better, it seems. Is that just getting used to the stages, or is it just your familiarity with the cars at that time, or?
Initially coming here was just, I'd learned the stages, got my understanding of the way the rally ran, to relax a little bit more, if there's a good way of putting it, with the timing and things. Obviously, we were used to international rallies and had to be checking in.
I think we got better now, though.
The co-drivers have to kind of understand how things are working and just
Chill.
yeah.
Okay.
We were co-drivers getting out of the car and running up the stage and trying to get a time, and they're going like, "Whoa, it's not a problem." And he went, "I've got to check in." So, because obviously that was what we were used to, and that's how we've been taught. So, yeah, just to relax and enjoy it. And then I decided to bring back the following year our current car, which is the N14.
Right.
But it took us 2 attempts to win Group N, and Group N then was quite a competitive class.
Very, yeah.
We were unlucky. We had a puncher, which cost us. The first year we brought it back, and then the following year we won. And then we decided Group N wasn't enough.
You wanted
We had
to
to look at the
WRC.
overall win, which takes us through the last
Well,
8 years.
Go ahead.
you wanted to you go.
Well,
go.
I mean, yeah, you've had a few. Obviously the S12 has been yours stable for the last few years until this year. What was that like to drive?
It's an awesome car.
Feel free to nerd
Because you
out.
still have the car, right?
Yeah, I still have the 12.
Is it for sale?
No,
You're keeping it
I'm keeping it.
for British.
Yeah, just for the
Just
odd
as
rally.
a collectors.
The odd rally here.
Can't
and
get
there,
rid of it.
And just it's quite an iconic
When
car.
when did you first drive a WRC car? Do you remember what the first WRC car you drove
First
was?
proper WRC car I drove was an 02 Ford Focus.
Focus.
Right.
It was an ex-Colin McRae car, and I was kindly given the opportunity to drive it by the owner, and we did a gravel rally in it, and it just blew my mind. It was
I can imagine the jump from a Group N to that is just
yeah,
they're two completely different
it was
things.
just night and day, So
Just speed and handling and
yeah, but it's not something you could just get into
right.
and get. Let's be honest, the best drivers in the world drive them, so you need a few.
You need time.
A few runs in them even to get anywhere near the speed out of them, and understand the car as well, and understand how it works. And back then, those cars were fully active, so there was lots of setup, to be done.
Yeah.
Whereas now the current cars we've got they're all mechanical, so the
Yeah.
setup is less.
A
in
bit
terms of
easier.
technology,
Yeah.
But that was my first driver one, and then
And did
I
you know?
realised that that's what I wanted to do.
Right, that's what I was going to ask. If you knew from that first drive, you're like, oh, I need to get one of these WRC
It was
cars.
as if he couldn't go back after driving it, let's be fair.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
But I did what a lot of people have done. I wasted a few years in the middle there trying to develop a B13 kind of car,
Right.
Right.
which you can't do.
Right.
You can't do.
We're going to get to the R5 WRC debate in a bit. What's been your favorite rally here? Is there a year that sticks out to you that's been, your favorite?
It wasn't 2019 for sure.
Well, you had a promising start. King of the Hill, you came agonizingly close.
Yeah.
And then it was the Friday night stage, if I remember last year.
Yeah, well, we found out, obviously, we were running King of the Hill with a broken crankshaft.
Right, that's it. You were trying to get the part. You were trying to overnight the parts.
And I think you probably got the numbers, but it was hundreds.
Yeah,
it was very close. Yeah.
And we tried to get it parts. We actually flew another engine in. The engine it arrived, but it was hours.
You just couldn't get in.
So we had to be able to get through Friday night to change the engine, and it was all going well. 2 stage wins. Jeffrey had gone off.
Yeah.
We were halfway through that stage, and we had to just get to the finish, and then we would have changed the engine. But yeah, that was hard. But I've enjoyed with the World Rally cars. All the years we've had frustrations, but it's always been competitive. It's been good battles. Some of the guys that have been here, the drivers that have come out each year.
Right.
The S11 was a good car, the red one that we had here.
Yeah.
Prior to that.
Yeah.
2014, 2015. We've had second place and.
Yeah, big one.
Yeah, lots of fun.
A lot of big drivers, obviously from the UK. You're talking, Bird obviously coming for a few years, and now that he can't do that, although I hear his son is rallying pretty well right now, don't know if he'll ever end up coming out.
Yeah.
You and obviously Jeffrey seem to have a good relationship. How's the competitiveness been between you two? Which is leading me into the R5 WRC debate.
Jeffrey's obviously had great success here, and we got on great as friends. We've met in the UK before, and we meet up and things. We get on very well. But the competition is there, and it's getting fiercer. And obviously he's had the upper hand now for a while. We've given him a hard time the last couple of years.
I would say Sunday was a good indication of where you are. He took one, you took one.
Yeah.
Tell me about the R5 WRC. Was it ever a question to do an R5, or was it always about WRC? And did you discuss it with Jeffrey? Because obviously he's gone that route too.
Yeah, we talked about it. And as you know, we did a rally back in the UK, and Jeffrey had an R5 car.
Right.
And I only went and did that event because Jeffrey was coming over, and I thought it was good manners to compete against him as he travelled so far to come over. And we did it in an R5 car. When the rule changed about the older WRC cars, and they had they capped them then and banned WRC cars, obviously we would have gone to R5, and that would have been just a natural progression.
Yeah.
As we had in the UK a number of years ago when the BRC went Group N, they capped
and that's it.
Yeah. But the opportunities, if anyone was going to come in with a WRC car, then you needed to be in a WRC.
If you want to win it,
of course.
Yeah.
So we spoke and we both said, but we need to move forward. It was obvious the Subaru was getting harder to run, the reliability.
Yeah.
Jeff was having the same issues with the Focus in terms of parts and availability. So we had a conversation and said that we need to buy something more modern. And if we're going to both do it, other people have already done it. We see other Fiestas coming in from the UK last year and things. So we decided that was the way to go forward.
Okay.
Do you think? Sorry, I'm just taking a quick step back. When you were competing in your Subaru World Rally car and he had his Focus, did you think, as far as the cars were concerned, that they were relatively even in your opinion, or would you say that one had upper hand over the other in certain areas, or in general?
Had slightly more development because they went on a little bit further with the Focus with M Sport, and it certainly had more reliability. The chassis was definitely better and suited. You could see the way that it had been developed and the way it handled. The Subaru had strong points, and we knew, and you had to take advantage of that. When a stage suited the car, you had to take advantage of it and make sure you won that stage because it was smooth and fast. Subaru certainly had good speed, but we struggled with reliability.
During that time, you said that Subaru would have certain advantage on certain stages for the other. did that ever frustrate you a bit as the weekend would go on in Rally Barbados, knowing that in the back of your head that perhaps there are certain things that, or stages that you just know that no matter how hard you try or how well everything goes, Jeffrey's still
we knew
going
that
to
there
be
were stages that we just would struggle to win, and I mean I would be very much looking at the stage, waiting for the rallies to release the stages, and I'd be like,
so you can plan.
Please don't put that one in this year. Put that one in. Let's put that in. For instance, Vaucluse. If it included much of Vaucluse, we knew we'd struggle around there because the Subaru just didn't suit that if we was in Vaucluse and around the stage too much. It's a great venue and I love driving it, but I knew it would hurt us when we went in there with the Subarus against the Focus. Likewise, if the long stages.
So Sunday was a good day for you.
Always a good day, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just quicker. It's just so much
quicker
faster.
and more open and smoother. Although I actually prefer the bumpy, twisty stages from a driving point of view. So yeah, but we had to make changes to the Subaru to get it to work in Barbados as well that we probably wouldn't have done in
the UK.
Like what?
Yeah.
Are you allowed to share?
We just set up and geometry. We had to work hard on that. I had some really good, some good local advice to help me with that after looking at where we were struggling and some of the.
Would this be from Roger and his crew, or
no, maybe not as much from Roger. No, but talking to some of the two-wheel drive guys and things like that, and just trying to understand. And because the road surface here is very different to many other places you drive, the grip level. So yeah, geometry and setup is very, very important. And probably 2 years ago we made a real big, and you probably
you can see it.
We made a big step forward with the Subaru, and that made the difference. And then even on some of the what I call the local rallies here that we came out and did winter rallies and things, we were battling with Jeff, and we carried that through to Rally Barbados.
Yeah.
But it's been a really good experience and battle. It's become a bit of a passion. It's probably taken over a little bit too much, but.
I mean, talking about the WRC group here, I mean, I think you just touched on the competitive nature. When the rallies are over, what's the banter like? Is it still very competitive in nature, or is everybody, what's the community like, is what I would say for you?
It's fantastic, and everybody helps out here, and that's been like that ever since day one when we came, to be honest. And that was the biggest thing that we noticed when we first came in here, 10 years ago, 12 years ago, that everybody that was here to help you rally. There was no issue over that.
Right.
When the clock started, you're on your own. But at the end of the stage, if anyone needed help, that was there.
Yeah.
And we've made so many friends here. We socialise with the guys and to even after the rallies when we go home to the UK, we keep in touch with everybody.
Of course, yeah.
And if anyone comes to England, we try and meet up. And if we've been to Jamaica since as well. And that was great.
And you rallied in Jamaica too.
Yeah, we
one
did
year.
in 2010. Yeah.
And what was that? What was the difference like?
The rallying was fantastic. The stages were really good. It was obviously a gravel rally.
Yeah.
Thoroughly enjoyed it. A few other guys from Barbados had come over, so we were familiar with people and everything. And again, they looked after us really well. Everything was organised for you. It doesn't have that vacation feel to it. It's very difficult, I think, for them to put that on, which they'd like to be able to do. I think if they could do that like Barbados does, they'd have some competition there with it. But totally enjoyed the event and everything about it.
Yeah, I've heard good things about Rally Jamaica. They used to have a big kind of, at least spectator group that would go down every year. And
they used to be bigger than Barbados, that's what Neil was saying last week.
True. Yeah. But I always like a good rally, high speed, gravel, lots of jumps and stuff.
Yeah, and I understand talking to some of the guys that works teams used to go there and all sorts of things.
Interesting.
It was a big event.
And
we'd really like to do Trinidad as well at some point. If we
that's apparently another good one.
And Martinique is very much on the list. We've tried for the last 2 or 3 years to get to Martinique. If the car after Rally Barbados had been in one piece and there wasn't an issue,
you were going down?
Plans to ship it across. I know Jeffrey's been a couple of times.
Yeah.
We would like to do that.
Yeah, that looks like a sick rally.
Martinique?
Yeah.
Really,
John Joseph lives there. Yeah. That would be amazing to go there and those the RC cars.
They say it's very much like Corsica. Smooth.
It looks like it. It looks like it. Yeah.
So so from being in Barbados and rallying in Barbados, the opportunity to go and do some other events is certainly there.
Yeah, amazing. Can we talk about R5s now? again, briefly. When you obviously you've now driven the current WRC cars, or at least as current as a average person can get, and R5s. How do you compare the two cars?
They're very similar. The chassis. I mean, I've only driven I've driven Mitsubishi R5 and the Mirage and things, but the Fiesta R5 is, as a current one. I've driven in 2 evolutions of that. The chassis is very similar. The way the chassis works, the feel of the car is very similar. Obviously, they're a little bit heavier, and they don't have the power of the WRC car. But they're a great package. They really are.
And it's just cheaper, so it's apparently cheaper to operate.
Yeah, I think it's much
Yeah,
cheaper.
so the initial cost to buy, obviously we're buying a second-hand World Rally car as opposed to if you was to buy a new or fresh R5 car. The cost there is very similar. The overall running cost is obviously slightly less in the R5 car because the components, a lot of them are production parts,
Right.
and they're capped as well at
Right.
certain prices.
Right.
And the longevity of the components is higher, so that the life
Service between them is longer. Yeah.
So they're a really good package for.
I mean, they look really capable when you see them on the road. I mean, here locally at least, I remember when the first set of R5s came. I can't remember the guy's name. He brought a Skoda, and I just couldn't believe how compliant the car looked on the road and stable compared to some of the other. I mean,
Purple. And black.
yeah, it was white and purple and black. Yeah, they just. I've never been in one, but just from the outside, they look really, really impressive.
Yeah, they are, and they're great to drive. I mean, the Fiesta characteristics of the Fiesta is it has a lot of pitch and roll, and that's the way the car's designed. The Skoda is a lot smoother, doesn't have shows body roll. So when you see the two cars on the road, one doesn't look as aggressive as the other one, but the speed in the Skoda
is the same.
There.
Yeah.
They're all very, very similar. When you look at the times between guys in Polos and Skodas, they're
Very close.
Very similar.
Yeah.
The WRC Fiesta that you now got, it's an M Sport, it's an M Sport. It's not a Don Buckley.
No, it's M Sport car.
M Sport.
It's actually the car that Lloyd Tanak put into the lake in Mexico.
No way. Is it?
What a story.
It's the very same car. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's a great soundbite for us, right?
Can you imagine?
What's the goal? I mean, obviously the goal is to win rallies. What's your plan for the car? Because you've been keeping it here. Are you planning to keep it here? Or are you taking it back? What's the plan?
I think the plan is to keep it here now and through to certainly Rally Barbados next year. So the car shipped in February with all our intentions for the year. The plan was to come out, test the car into February, which is what we did when we were here. Then do the warm-up rally, April, leading into Rally Barbados, and then after Rally Barbados, decide whether to leave it here and perhaps do a few local rallies, maybe do another Caribbean rally, and then take the car.
Take it back home.
With the way things have gone this year now, obviously we didn't get to use the car, so it will certainly stay here now. I think through to Rally Barbados next year.
Well, they are doing one this year.
Well,
apparently.
they are.
Yeah.
They're doing Rally Barbados this year.
Well, we've heard obviously
Different.
rumours and dates and things.
If it is,
nothing's confirmed.
if it is
nothing.
confirmed, would you come and do it?
Certainly going to try to.
Try to, yeah.
I think it's supposed to be end of October.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be in the same way that we'd do it normally. Obviously, with travel and obviously the way things are in the UK, we wouldn't be bringing family and friends and things.
Sure.
Like that.
Yeah.
It'd be a very small, low-key event for us.
Yeah.
But certainly come and do it.
Yeah, Neil Bernard told us they're making all efforts for October 31st, November 1st weekend. It'll be 2 days instead of 3, no Friday night. So you would just run Saturday, Sunday. Same King of the Hill same King of the Hill running the weekend before. So
Yeah, it's a shame. I mean, obviously this rally was certainly hyped. I mean, the whole news of Ken Block coming was. I mean, what did you think of something like that?
I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, I welcome anybody that comes. Whether they're coming for a serious competition or just to raise the profile of the event or anything.
Yeah.
I'd met Ken here at Race of Champions previously and things. So yeah, and I mean he's a great character. He's very stalwart for motorsport. And he would have come and been competitive. That car's quick.
Very quick.
It's actually built very near to us in the UK, so I'd seen it built and tested, and things. So yeah, it was a shame. The event was looking for all of us. You know, we put a big effort in again this year, and obviously other drivers had, and it was looking really good. But we'll get back there.
Yeah, definitely.
Sure.
I think so.
I mean, at this stage, taking this weekend into account, obviously, how pleased were you with the performance and the car? So, I don't know how many hours you've had in the car now, but how do you feel?
I'm pleased with where we're at so far with the
Yeah.
car. Yeah, we had an hour with the car on Friday at Bushy Park, just to familiarise ourselves with it again. The Saturday test up at Four Hills. I thought that was fantastic, a great idea.
Good, yeah.
And we embraced that and went and did it and thoroughly enjoyed it. Got a lot of good feedback from just being in the car. Seat time's really important as well for us because we hadn't driven for a little while.
Yeah.
But also a few adjustments to the car. Was pleased with the times there, and then obviously going into Sunday, started off really well. We had a light shower of rain, and I didn't judge the grip quite as I should have done, and Jeffrey got ahead of me, which wasn't going to happen in the afternoon. So we'll put that right.
I know. And
Was Saturday your first competitive outing in the car? Although I know it wasn't technically.
I did an event in the UK with it around Christmas time, a single venue event. So try and get familiar with the car, which was just a single venue sort of local event which we won in the car. And but that all seems a long time ago. We kind of reset, and Saturday was start from fresh, and that was what we did.
Yeah.
What was the difference between obviously Sunday morning to Sunday afternoon? I know it was reversed, but how did you feel? You just felt quick? I mean,
just felt more comfortable in the car. We made some small adjustments to the car. Obviously, we were running without a co-driver, which is quite an unusual thing for us. Well, certainly for us in the UK, we don't do any sort of speed events.
Yeah.
So that was quite different for me. It's quite a strange feeling being in the car without anything. I mean, I still plug the intercom in and try and get that same
feel,
noise and feel of the car. But having no presence of anybody else in the car, and just any of that reassurance of distances and corners that are coming. So it takes a little bit of getting used to. So perhaps a little bit more familiar with that on Sunday. 4 new tyres.
That will help.
That always makes a big difference.
The road temperature had crept up, so it was getting very hot tarmac.
Yeah,
a ton of people out there that day. I mean, it was like
our stage was full.
I know we were out there.
Just the sheer determination I wasn't going to lose it.
But that must give you a lot of encouragement going into maybe a Rally Barbados this year, that you finally are on a similar machine to Jeff, and you seem to have the pace. So this might be the one. Touch wood.
That's what we've got to work towards. We're in similar cars now.
I was going to say.
Apart from the livery, that's going to be about what it comes down to in terms of what the cars are.
Does
difference in the cars. I understand there's a lot of talk out on the stage how they sound different and things. I think we have a different silencer, but in terms of performance,
it's all the same.
Both look incredibly quick.
Do they?
I would say that.
Does that make you a bit more, or how does it make you feel now, knowing that you and Jeff you're on the same playing field, and there's no kind of major car differences now? I mean, does it?
A lot of confidence that we're in the same cars, so there's no excuse book anymore. So that's gone. So, but to be in exactly the same cars, it will make for good competition.
Yeah.
I think we push each other as well, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
I know Jeff was pushing hard on Sunday, and we had a good day's motorsport. We both got out of the cars at the end of the day and smiling, which is what ultimately what it's about. We got out and we were laughing and grinning, and we had a lot of fun.
Good. You mentioned no navies. Obviously, you've had a few. I think Garrod is now doing BRC. Is he, or he was?
Yeah, he was doing the BRC, which obviously has gone by the wayside this year now. For this year,
so they're done for.
There's no British Championship this year. No, we had a BRC.
Right, the virtual.
Which, actually was won by one of the British Championship co-drivers.
Okay.
Enough, none of the drivers made it to the
No way.
That's so ironic.
I know, right?
The Navi wins.
Yeah, so that shows you what they do in their spare time. But yeah, and, Darren's now doing the junior WRC, which has now got 4 or 5 rounds confirmed to the end of the year.
Okay.
Nice.
So
So at least there's something.
I don't know what availability is this year. We've also been working with Steve McNulty, who came out with us last year.
Right.
So between Steve and Darren, they're my
There you go.
co-pilots.
If you could drive any local car, is there anything other than what you drive? Is there anything that sticks out to you, or something that you want to get into?
If I felt brave enough, I'd like to have a go in one of the Starlets.
There you
but
go.
I just
What's your perspective on those? How do you feel about those cars and those drivers?
Yeah.
well, I think they're crazy. I think they're amazing little things. You know, they just remind me though of back when I remember we used to go and watch autocross. We used to build specials, as we called them then.
Yeah.
And that's where we would see some Starlets and things like that back home. But that was for going around an oval dirt track.
Yeah.
So not for 100 plus mile an hour down a bumpy lane. But they're incredible things. It's so quick. Josh Reed, for instance, Josh Reed and that, and seeing it on hitting the limiter.
It's amazing, huh?
Amazing.
He's a madman.
Yeah,
He
I think
is.
they're incredible things.
He is out of his mind. But I mean, were those even to this day? Then those cars that we have here still impress you when you see them,
Yeah, just from the,
or when you see like these stage times and you realise how close they
as
are.
well that the guys put into them, and,
Yeah.
and their passion for them, and the build, what they build. Mayors with a Fiesta, and obviously they're all work in progress. Not sure where they can get to with them. Ultimately, when we bring a car like we've got, obviously it's had millions and millions of dollars
Put into
pounds
it.
development.
Development.
Into it. And that was, I learned that the hard way a few years back when we bought a couple of B13 cars here and ran them in the UK. You could try and bolt bits on that you could glean information from WRC, but you could never ultimately build that package. They'd done all that development. And
Yeah.
and I realised that that's what I had to step into if we wanted to
If you wanted to win and
win.
compete.
But the passion they have for those cars is amazing. And
Have
they're
you-
all very good engineers as well. When you look at some engineers,
Yeah, very much.
I was looking at the Starlet at Bushy Park, a couple of days ago. That's being built there, and just an incredible thing.
It is. They really go all out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever even been in a passenger ride in one of them?
No.
Would you?
I think he'd prefer to drive it
In
rather
Bushy
than
Park,
be a
maybe?
Listen, I'd go for a ride in one, of course I would. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, that'd be a great experience, I'm sure.
Okay. What else we got?
I think that's good.
That's good for today.
Yeah.
All right, Rob. Listen, it's been an absolute pleasure. We wish you all the best this year. We look forward to seeing you at Rally Barbados, hopefully.
Yes, please.
Thanks for listening. We'll certainly be pushing hard all the way to do it. And if I can just mention, obviously we thank all the support we get here from our sponsors and Blue Sky Luxury,
Right. 'Cause
Elegant Hotels, which I know everyone's having a hard time at the moment, so we appreciate everyone's support, and we'll keep trying to fly the flag for them.
good.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Thanks,
Everybody,
Rob.
ladies and gents, thank you very much. Cheers.